Play Better Ultimate is brought to you by Savage.
Hey guys, today we're going to look at cutting, and our most basic goal of cutting is to be able to get open in a position to receive the disc. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at those physiological things that take place in order to help us make specific kinds of cuts so that we can play better Ultimate. There's a lot of different ways that we can make good cuts, but what we're going to look at today are a couple of elements that make specific cuts successful. So when we look at these things, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see what are the main elements in a cut. We can really boil it down into two things. The first thing we need to accomplish in a good cut is to get our defender off balance. Once we have our defender off balance, we can make a move to get into some open space and then have a play on the disc. So the two things we're going to look to do to get our defender off balance, we're going to look to use speed to drive them in a position where they're not able to run or they're not ready to run. Or we're going to use misdirection, where we're going to get the defender to think that we're going to move one way and open up some space in another direction. Once we have the defender off balance, we really have two tools to get into open space. The first is with a change of direction, which is basically where we're going to change the direction that we're moving. And the second is a change of pace, where we're going to head at a different speed in the same direction we were heading. We're going to go out into the field with Jason Williams, who's a cutter for Queen City Thunder. He's also played his college ball down at Case Western Reserve University. He's a great player and a great cutter. He gets open all the time. So we're going to see how he mixes those elements together to make successful cuts. Let's go ahead and take a look.
The Go Cut relies on two main elements: speed, a lot of speed, and a very sharp change of direction. Here when we see Jay Will do it, he's going to take a couple of chop steps, and then he's going to make one powerful step with his outside foot, and we can see that Drew's caught out here because he's focused on the speed that Jay Will has that's carrying his momentum, and Drew's going to get caught out trying to change directions here. He's in a bad place. He's got to get his hips all the way back around to the inside, which enables Jason to accelerate out of that cut and get to the disc well before Drew does. All right, now let's see if we can follow the steps that Jay Will is taking here to make this cut. As he slows down, we'll see that his steps become a lot more chopped. Chopping your steps really enables you to slow down quickly, and we'll see that his steps are spaced very close together as he accelerates out of this cut. So when we look at this, we can see that there's a very specific region here where he's decelerating in. That's those three steps right there where he's trying to get from maximum speed to a stop point. And he places his outside foot, which is his left foot in this case, really powerfully on the ground to stop and change direction. And then he's got a couple of steps that are spaced closely together as well to explode out of that cut and really get accelerated back up to maximum speed, because as we said before, the Go Cut is all about speed. It's speed, and it's a sharp change of direction, as we can see from the angle that he's taken too. It's about a 90-degree angle that he's got right there, which is a pretty sharp change in direction. All right, let's take a look high speed at what Jason's doing to make this Go Cut. We can see he starts to decelerate. His center of gravity is very low, and as he sticks out that stop and change foot, really puts a lot of weight on it. That's his outside foot. And then he's going to bring his inside foot in. He's compressed up like a spring, and he's actually going to spring out of this cut in order to get back up to full speed as quickly as possible, because that's the name of the game when making one of these explosive Go Cuts. All right, let's take a look at a hybrid cut that has a little bit of mix of things. We're going to still carry some of the elements of speed that we saw in the Go Cut, but we're going to slow it down just a little bit so that we can add some misdirection and maybe even read our defender just a little bit to see how we get him off balance. Here comes Jason. He's going to throw a quick jab step out to the right to really throw Drew off balance. As we look at it from the side view, he's going to take a couple of steps here to decelerate, not as dramatic as what we saw in the Go Cut. Then he's going to take a little Euro step out to the side, which is sort of a jab step misdirection. And then he's going to accelerate out of the cut at a slighter angle than what we saw with the Go Cut. So let's take a look at this in the high-speed camera and see how this really works to get Jason open. All right, we can see that Jason is driving at his defender. He's driving at Drew to get him off balance, because Drew's backpedaling now in response to that. And what we're going to see now is Jason's going to throw that Euro step. He's going to extend his right foot out to misdirect Drew into thinking he's going to the left. And there's that Euro step. And we're going to see Drew respond to that by shifting his weight left as his left foot comes down. He drops his left shoulder in a response to that misdirection. And now when he sees Jason going to his left, he's too late and it's difficult. He's caught himself in an awkward position, way off balance, and he can't follow Jason. We can see Jason's accelerating beautifully out of this cut, and Drew's really struggling to get his weight around to respond to Jason's cut. That's really the basic element of the hybrid cut. We're going to throw a little bit of a misdirection, and we're going to do it at speed so it makes it difficult for our off-balance defender to play it. Okay, the shake cut, we're going to use a combination of a change of pace and misdirection to get our defender off balance. We don't have to get them way off balance because we have a really good ability to read when they are off balance. Here's Jason. He's going to drive. Not a really drastic change of angle, but he threw in a little shoulder and head fake at the beginning there, and that was enough to get Drew off balance just a little bit. Here's his steps, and again we can see it's not a real steep angle, but he did when he pivoted with that right foot, that outside foot. He made a slight change of direction, but a change in pace when he noticed that Drew was off balance because of the body fake. Let's look at it again with some enhancements here. As we can see, Jason driving a little bit to get him off balance, and then he turns his head and shoulders to get Drew off balance. And Drew reacts by taking this little chop step, and when Jason sees that, he drives his right foot, changes that pace, doesn't take a real steep change of direction, but now he's in a good running form. He's compact. He's able to get to full speed. And we can see Drew is off balance just because of the head and shoulder fake that got thrown at speed in combination with the change of pace. He really doesn't have a chance to catch up with Jason. So it's a really good cut there from Jay Will, using just a little bit of misdirection and a significant change of pace. All right, one of the easiest ways to get open is a really quick throw and go. You're basically going to make a strike cut right after throwing the disc. Let's watch Jason do this. Right now you can see Jason's waits forward. He's ready to accelerate. He's really beginning to start his sprint. And Drew is stuck in mark mode. He's really got his feet kind of flat. He's awkwardly leaned over, which is going to give Jason that just enough space to get open on Drew because Jason's ready to run and the defender is still in marking mode. Let's take a look at the high speed of how Jason's able to accelerate right out of his throw like that. You'll see he shifts his weight backwards a little bit, and right now he's sort of loaded up like a spring, and as he releases the disc, he's got his pivot leg bent, ready to accelerate, and right as he releases the disc, he's ready to drive with his plant foot and get into that sprint. You'll notice it's more about smoothness than it is about running immediately after your throw. We want to avoid travels when we do the throw and go. All right, we can also try the throw and go as a backhand if the mark is a little bit loose. And what we can see with Jason is the mechanics of the backhand really enable us to accelerate quicker and even start running before we release the disc. Let's take a look at this in the high speed. And you'll see right here as he starts to release the disc, he's leaning forward. And right now he's basically starting to run. He's really got his weight all the way forward. His back foot is almost completely off the ground. And he's going to run, but you'll watch his pivot foot stays on the ground until after he releases the disc, but already he's taking those big strides. He's getting up to full speed much quicker than the forehand. So if we're not worried about getting hand blocked with the open side backhand, it does give us a significant advantage when we throw and go.